You're listening to the Kitchen Garden Magazine podcast, your fortnightly fix of gardening features, advice and chat. Subscribe and follow us now to never miss an episode. Hi everybody and welcome to the latest Kitchen Garden podcast. I'm delighted to be joined today by Stephanie Hafferty, regular KG contributor, Top Jobs for June. I can prove it. There she is in Top Jobs for June. And of course, organic gardening guru. Lovely to be talking to you, Steph.
Lovely to be here. Kind of virtually.
Yeah, virtually. Yeah, you're on your lovely hillside in Wales and I'm in Grantham. I'm not sure who's better off. I think you might be. But,
that always makes me think of the Spitting Image song about the Grantham anthem. Did you ever hear that?
No, it's probably just as well I haven't. No.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh, definitely. What we're supposed to be doing today, chaps, is having a chat about Chelsea Flower Show, which Steph went to this year and visited and had a good look round. I didn't manage to get there this year, so Steph's going to tell me and everyone else all about it, and what she sort of took away from it. There was quite a sort of sustainability theme, I think, this year, Steph.
Absolutely, yes. It was everywhere. Well, not literally everywhere, but it was a feature in many of the gardens, which is fantastic because I think we're all aware, particularly after the winter that we've had, which went on, I don't know about you, but here it started mid-July and it finished about the time of Chelsea.
Still bearing the scars. Yes.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of the designers have taken that on board, that things are very different. And also we're not quite sure how things are going to go, because not that long ago, a lot of the designing was about Mediterranean style gardens.
Yes.
And what to do if there's not enough water, which clearly cursed the weather, and instead we had far too much.
Yes, record.
So I think, so that was definitely part of it. So I'm really lucky that I get to go in on press day. Mm-hmm. So I got in at about 5:45 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
It was a bit like, getting up in my hotel room, like the zombie from the crypt, getting on the tube. But that means I can get around all the gardens when basically there's just the photographers there and some press people. So it's lovely and peaceful and quiet. Yes. So I get to see a different side of Chelsea, which is really nice. I worked there a few years ago in the Blue Peter Garden. I was running, giving talks on soil, and that was on Friday and Saturday when everybody's there. So I've seen both sides of it. It's always really exciting going to Chelsea because you're never quite sure what's going to see. And I actually make a point of not reading about it beforehand. Because I like to go there and be surprised. And I think if you know too much, then you've got that wow factor maybe taken away a little bit. So that's me personally. I know other people who really like to devour every snippet and go totally prepared. You go in, you kind of going in a different way when you're going through the press gate, but one of the first things you get to is the big long avenue with the show gardens.
Yes.
Which is so impressive. It is quite exciting that early in the morning as well, because they're still finishing off. So there's always this risk of getting run over by a little machine with pallets on things. You've got to be aware of where you're going. And the light is beautiful then, you can imagine. So, it's always, it's just a bit overwhelming, actually, because you look at one garden, you look at another, oh my goodness, here's another one. And you go down the avenue to the bottom, And then there's feature gardens along there as well. And there's also the Grand Pavilion, which has all kinds of amazing things in. And then up and around the back of the main show gardens, there's rows of stalls saying, don't take your credit card.
Oh, gosh,
they're so tempting. There's rows of stalls, and then behind there, you go into kind of like a little woodland bit, and down, it's more of like a bit more like a lane. It reminds me of the lanes here in Wales.
Right.
And that has the very, very small gardens. So there are things like the container gardens and the balcony gardens.
I love those, yeah.
Yeah, they're one of my favourites. One of the things I like about that is I like the scale, I like the size of them. And also on press day, you've got very excited designers there. So you can chat with them all, and they have some smashing ideas that you can take away. Some of them are show garden-y. So one of the balcony gardens had this beautiful bronze gutter with a bronze chain going down into this beautiful metal container, which was all enameled. And there is no way I'm going to get a bronze gutter for here, my shed in Wales. But, so it's beautiful to look at, and the light glinting from it was fantastic. But anybody looking at that can think, actually, I can do this really easily, because it's not always possible to put a downpipe in when you're water harvesting.
Yes.
So you can put chains and the water then goes down. It's easy to guide. I do that on the greenhouse, where you can't put a downpipe. It just wouldn't fit.
Yes.
So, so that was, it's just lovely. And then you go up, through twisting little paths to an area with lots and lots of food for sale. And those are the houseplant gardens as well there. And there, I kill houseplants. That's my area of expertise. I have a
very healthy one behind you.
Yeah, my spider plant, I've had it for years.
Yeah, it looks better than mine. I've got one.
Yeah, that one I haven't killed. But I had the ones in the bathroom. There's half what there was. I've got an orchid. I'm willing it to live as well.
Yeah.
But so I really enjoy looking at those, because it's what I like. It's things outside my area of work. I'm an edible specialist.
Yes.
And looking at these amazing things, and when I have actually no idea what most of them are.
Yeah, it doesn't really can't enjoy those. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think in a way you can kind of enjoy it more, because if something's a bit out of place, I don't have a clue, because it's a houseplant. So I don't know if it's in the wrong size pot, but I'm just thinking, So it's strange, because so much of it is kind of more geometric, down the avenues. But then there's these lovely twisting areas. So there's like several Chelseas within.
Yeah, it's got a vibe, isn't it, from a lot of flower shows? It's quite small, really, the site, I suppose. When you sit on telly, you think, it could be massive, but when you get there, it's quite small and almost intimate, really, isn't it? So, very different vibe to, say, Hampton Court, for example.
Yes. Which I'm going to. Gosh, I think it's in a couple of weeks, isn't it, Hampton Court?
It is, yes.
And it's a Hampton Court. You definitely need to take comfy shoes to Hampton Court.
Oh, yes. Yeah. To walk miles and miles.
Yeah. Chelsea, you can get away with your fancier shoes a bit more, I think. So I think one of the gardens which I really, really liked, unsurprisingly, because it had a vegetable theme as well, was the She Grows Veg installation in the Grand Pavilion.
Oh, which, yes, yeah.
Was also, they were launching their seed company at the event show too.
It's heritage seeds, isn't it?
Heritage seeds, yeah.
Yeah.
And what they've done, so this is one of the reasons why, apart from obviously it's veg, one of the things I really liked about it is they had done a big backdrop of just black fabric and got gold frames sprayed gold. They were actually gold. And then arranged the vegetables and edible flowers and things that they grow within these separate frames. So it looked like the most amazing art. So it was a pleasure to look at it and to see vegetables which are normally so utilitarian used as beautiful installations. But one of the things I really liked about it is such a great idea to take home, because most of us have access to charity shops. You can find a frame, paint it gold or whatever colour you want, and then that's how, rather than putting your veg harvest from the allotment in a truck, put it in a frame. I thought this is such a joy, you know, something you can do with kids, something you can do for your Instagram, whatever. And they made this massive frame, human-sized frame, and they had some vegetable-y flower crowns, and you could sit there and pretend you were queen of vegetables. I've got a photo of me with a cheesy grin in there. And later on, Raymond Blanc came, was there doing a demonstration using some of the veg. So it was not just about portraying it looking beautiful, but also the practical side of it is meant to be eaten. So I really enjoyed that one. And the Grand Pavilion is there's some really interesting small gardens in there, mostly community or charities, that kind of thing. There was one I wrote down what it was called. Lost it. It's on here. But there was one called Planet, all about plants by Planet Good Earth. And that attracted me, not just because it's got veg in it, but it had a skateboarding ramp.
Oh.
But this was all about creating edible areas in urban environments. So you've got skateboarding tracks, and they have this in real life. And around it, the planting is different kinds of food and things, so they can learn about the young people, once they finish whizzing about, can also learn about how food grows and how to make food. And so I thought that was a really interesting idea.
Because that was another theme of the show, wasn't it? I think gardening with children or gardening for children, trying to connect children to horticulture generally, really. Yeah.
Certainly there was one of the main gardens was called No Adults Allowed.
I heard about that,
with children. So there was a kind of a tree house and things to go under and a little brook going through. And
it sounds amazing.
It was. So, I mean, my children, when they were little, they'd have loved playing on something like that.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that I really liked outside, one of the big gardens, was called Imagine the World to Be Different. And it was made by St. James's in Piccadilly. And it's based on what's really there. And so you've got this like massive church structure in the middle of the garden. And I think what I found really fascinating about that was I had no idea William Blake was baptized at St. James's in 1757. But it was really rather dramatic. So I did enjoy that one. And I think also Naomi Slade's and Ed Barsley's flood resilient garden,
right?
Which is very topical.
Yeah, very topical. Yes.
I think Chelsea was the first time I hadn't worn wellies since the previous July.
Oh my goodness!
And so that was super. I really enjoyed seeing that one. They'd made it so that you had like a house, the front of a house with a glass roofed kind of pergola thing. So an area basically to sit outside when it's pouring down, which frankly I could do all the way around my house here. And then lots of ideas that you could again take home from what to do if your garden has, you've realised, after months and months of rain, that parts of your garden are really waterlogged, how to make it into a bog garden, how to make it into a water feature, and also how to capture the water and store it in some quite interesting ways. There was from this glass roof, there's kind of a whole load of planters, but they're for holding water, these rectangular containers. So you've got almost like a waterfall effect.
Oh,
Yeah, it's feeding the plants, but also it's storing water and channeling water. There's swales in there, so you can move water in different ways, rather than it just coming down and going across your allotment and washing everything out to sea, which I think some people had this year.
yes.
And so a lot of the ideas in that one, I think, were very achievable for a lot of people. You could just pick out a few things. I really, really would like the planters. I'm looking at the photo of it now. It was rather beautiful. I'll send it to you.
Oh, yes,
it's really lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So it was nice to see. I think you mentioned She Grows Veg, and I think that was part of this display. That was it near the cenotaph? It was right in the middle, I think. So it sort of puts or near the middle of the show, and that's sort of normally thought of as a really important part of Chelsea. I think that particular place. So it was nice to see edibles, because I think it was part of a display. Was it called the nursery? A day on the nursery, I think. And there were other.
The thing is, I see so much on the day.
Yes, yeah.
And I can't remember the names of everything.
No.
You take notes and you think, oh, I'll remember that.
Yeah, and
there's so much to see.
But it sort of put edibles right at the centre, which is really nice, especially in a important show like Chelsea. As you say,
as you know, sorry. No,
carry on. No, so many things to take away from.
Excited, you say. Yeah. Just, as you know, if I did Chelsea, it would all be edibles, wouldn't it? One thing that's nothing to do with edibles, the Newt sponsor Chelsea.
Oh, yes.
The Newt Somerset, and they had a replica Roman installation. It was like a Roman garden, and so that looked very beautiful. And for me personally, I used to live near the New. I actually worked there when it was Hudspun. I set up a kitchen garden at Hudspun.
Wow!
And so I was not part of the New, but part of the area when it was being developed and watching everything that was happening.
Right.
And when I lived there, I moved away over 3 years ago. When I lived there, they were building this Roman area because there is a real Roman ruin on the land.
Oh, I see.
And so it was interesting seeing actually part of what it's like at Chelsea. Wow. And there were people in togas giving you things to try.
Amazing.
So that was, it's very surprising. You're never quite sure what you're going to see. It's not just lots and lots of flowers.
No.
I think some of them were a lot to do with like one's mental health and well-being, and beautiful trees and beautiful planting underneath. There was one which I believe was Tom Stewart Smith's, which is all white flowers and the most beautiful trees, and you could just imagine sitting underneath it and feeling really relaxed.
So important, isn't it? Yeah. I can't imagine you ever sit and give yourself time to sit and relax in the garden, Steph. But so you take a lesson from that.
I do have a hammock.
Oh, you do?
It warms up enough. I've been in it about 3 times this year. Once I'm in it, it's quite hard getting out, so I get to stay there.
Oh, yes. I'm very nervous of hammocks, I have to be honest. Yeah. I think they bite.
Yeah, my one has wood either end, so it keeps it open. But the second one, which is the one my kids use, that's the one that kind of eats you like a Venus flytrap. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, it's just, it's difficult thinking about like any one thing with Chelsea because it's so.
yes, yeah.
Oh, another idea that I really liked that was in one of the mini gardens was she had um, shelves on the wall made from baskets with a piece of wood in the middle. I'll send you a photo of that as well.
Mm.
But if you imagine a beautiful basket with a piece of wood across so that you've got like a frame for your shelves and you can put pots on. But this looked, it's something so simple yet so eye-catching, and it would be
Yes,
so beautiful on the side of a shed or,
yeah,
against your house. And I just thought it's little things like that in something that's very beautifully designed. And you think, just spot the odd thing. Like, oh, definitely, I'd like to try that. I
yes,
need to up my
yeah.
eye.
Because I think when I go round, you sort of think, oh, well, I'm going to be taking all pictures of great big, lovely gardens, which of course you do. But I tend to home in on all these little things that you want to do in your own garden, bring back lots of
Exactly
pictures
that.
of things. Exactly as what you're talking about, all these little, the chains and the bronze guttering and the baskets. And it's all those little things that really make it quite exciting for me.
I think so. There's it's just these little. It's you've got both things, haven't you? As you say, you've got the whole spectacle of
Yes,
the
yeah.
event, but
And of
also you've
course,
got
that's
that
interesting.
human scale level where there's one of the gardens which, from a distance, is absolutely stunning, really dramatic, and I like food, so I homed in on the seating area where the pizza oven is. And they had one of those beautiful pottery pizza
Oh,
ovens.
always wanted one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. My son said he'd make me one. This was about a decade ago, and I've still not got one.
He's practicing. He's practicing.
Is that what it is? But they did use the pizza oven. They made like kind of Turkish breads, the flatbreads with some beautiful kind of pesto sauce. Oh,
Oh,
you only got a stamp-sized piece, but
still.
it was
Yeah.
still food. I was
Yes.
still happy. And some of them, again, you've got this splendid planting, and then at the back, a beautiful little rustic shed, and lots of water, which is nice, water for wildlife, as well as
Yes.
like
Yeah.
holding it to use in the garden. I think that's lots
Mm.
of ideas for harvesting and saving water and using it for nature as well. I'm looking
Yeah.
at one at the moment, which is against the shed. They've got the most beautiful stoneware sink, for outdoor washing of your
Oh,
vegetables.
that's another
Well,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because you forget that you've got to. It's actually much easier if you can wash your veg in the garden. I'm
Mm.
assuming they're
Mm.
washing veg.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might be cleaning their champagne glasses, but
Well,
if you can wash it in the garden, then as well as the water going and feeding your plants, you're not traipsing like 3 buckets of compost into the kitchen every time and block the sink up.
that's it. Yeah, exactly what I do.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got to spend ages unblocking the sink.
Yeah.
There's one garden which had a beautiful tower, which years ago I went to Myanmar, and it
Mm.
looked just like it was based on a Burmese landscape. So they had the most beautiful, it was stunning.
Mm.
So that was almost like going on your holidays, but
Yes.
gone anywhere.
I think there's a couple of the gardens I was reading. I don't know if you saw these, but the Best in Show one, I think Octavia Hill Garden. They're talking a lot of the materials used were reclaimed. I think reclaimed in this case from sort of National Trust gardens. Um,
Yes.
and there was
Yeah.
the Chelsea repurposed garden as well, which used lots of materials from former Chelsea's. And that's brilliant too, isn't it? That's amazing.
Exactly that.
Anything about that.
I totally agree. I think one huge step forwards compared with how the shows were back in the day is there used to be a huge amount of waste, and there'd be skips and skips of stuff, and everything practically is being rehomed, repurposed, reused. Most of the gardens had where they're going to go and be permanently installed. So the Blue Peter garden that I mentioned I was on in 2022, that's at RHS Bridgewater now. So I've seen it when I've been in Salford area. And yes, and so I think that is really important because yes, these gardens cost a lot of money. Of course they do. But it's not all then it's not rampant consumerism and everything being chucked in a skip.
No.
Things are going to different places and being cherished again. It's not just for that 1 week of glory and then into the landfill. There was that, and taking into account really how things are at the moment, not just water everywhere as we all experience. But I mean, there was one garden called Money Doesn't Grow on Trees, which was all about thinking about people navigating the cost of living at the moment. And so I think there's more of an awareness of how important it is to reuse things and not be wasteful as much as you can. I think maybe the pizza oven, they could reuse that by gifting it to me, but they didn't.
Oh, definitely, yes.
I think it is going. I think that one did go somewhere.
Yeah.
But it was quite funny because the repurposed from Chelsea Garden, I was spotting bits in there from last year, or maybe it was, you lose track which year sometimes. Or maybe
you do, yes. Yeah.
The really bright orange and pink walls, I remember those from another garden.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, yeah. You wonder where they keep these things, don't you? It must be a warehouse full of Chelsea bits somewhere, you think?
There must be. Yeah, I wonder. Like one of these disused air bases, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Chelsea bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Chelsea curator looking after it all. Maybe it's the Chelsea pensioners sort of take it in turns.
That's right, yes, yeah. Because the first time I went to Chelsea, the Grand Marquee was made of canvas. And so we're going back away, aren't we then? And very different now, of course. And I think it got chopped up and made into aprons and bags for life and all that sort of thing and sold on. So even that wasn't wasted either. That was made use of. I always wish I'd grabbed one of those. I'd bought one of those because that would have been a little bit of history.
Yeah.
From my childhood when I used to get actually dragged along to Chelsea at that stage, but that was a long time ago.
I've tried to imagine the pinnies now. I wonder what they'd make. There's a lot of things that you can buy at Chelsea as well, which I think is
yes, yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was really tempting. It's quite good fun though because there's seed companies as well, and of course in our line of work, most of them in it, and it's like, oh, hello, how are you?
Yes. Well, as you say, for us, it's meeting old friends, isn't it? Sometimes it's a chance you get to see them. Yeah. Yes, it's got a sort of small industry, really, isn't it? So you get to know most people, I think, after a little while. Yeah. And
I did feel, because I'm going around taking photos with my phone camera, and you feel like when I went in early, at 6 o'clock, it's like you feel really embarrassed because you've got all the real photographers with taking, and I'm just there.
Oh, you soon get over that, though, don't you? You just think, I've got to have a picture of that. So you've got as many elbows as they have. Then you
get out of the way. My iPhone. I think one brilliant thing as well, but with Chelsea, is it sort of really does start the year of shows, which is a lovely feeling. And so the next one I'm going to is Hampton Court.
Oh, I love Hampton Court. It's great. Yeah. So much to see there. I mean, if you can do that in a day, you'll be lucky, won't you? You'd be almost days for that one.
Yeah, I lived there once for nearly a month.
Oh, that was a bit extreme.
Then they spell me and kick me out. So when I did the show garden, So I actually lived down the road.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing, having made an RHS garden. So my garden was sponsored by the RHS. You know the amount of work that goes into these, and literally starting with nothing and creating, so say one of them, which looked like a Burmese landscape, and another one like Naomi's, which had, swales and pools to gather the water. Yeah, it's extraordinary to think how and they're having to do this around everybody else making one next door, because there's a gap between each one, but it's not huge.
No,
and got to do this, get everything on without, accidentally putting the pizza oven in the water garden or yeah, and then everything has to go, and again afterwards it is quite extraordinary.
It has to be left just as they found it, doesn't it? All the soil put back, obviously holes filled in, turf put back on. I think it's just got to be left perfect for the pensioners who are there all year round. Yeah. Amazing.
And people I've spoken to who went on the normal days, they just had a ball, including some people from this area making a big trip up to London to go to the show. So it's I think it really inspired so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, anybody listening to this, I don't know. I'd say book your tickets now. I'm not sure if you can quite do that, but make a date in your diary for next year anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they release the date, so you can block it out in your diary now. But the tickets, I don't think they're up yet. Start your saving for Chelsea kitty.
So, in summary, Steph, you had a really great day, and you'd recommend it for anyone who'd like to see a flower show for the first time, perhaps. Go along to Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I had an absolute ball. And as I said, everyone I know who's been on the other days, some people twice, they go in one day with one group of friends and they go in the next day with another group. Really enjoyed it. It's key things, sensible footwear, make sure you've got all weather gear, because it's a garden festival, so it's outdoors, so you want to be prepared for everything the weather can throw at you. And take a wheelie bag for all the plants you're going to end up buying.
Yeah, definitely.
It is. It's ever so easily accessible. It's very easy to get to from the underground and the buses. And the signage is fantastic, because I know that can be a bit worrying for people if they're not used to navigating London.
Yes,
it's really easy to find and easy to get in through the gates. It's very well organised. So I think it's definitely worth going to if you can get there next year.
I shall certainly do. Make an effort to be there next year, and we can walk around together.
Yeah, I'll meet you at 6:15 in the morning.
Oh, okay, maybe not.
I think most people turn up about 9.
Yeah, that'll be more me. Yeah. Oh, it's been super talking, Steph. Really great. It's always a laugh.
Yeah. Great to chat.
Yeah, it's super. And I look forward to talking to you again. So, take care, Steph. If you've enjoyed this video, press the like button and also give us a comment. Let us know what you're doing in the garden at the moment. And if you like our videos generally, it'd be really great if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel.